Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I've got an MSI MPG B550 gaming carbon Wi-Fi on the desk. All MSI boards are marked with the board number and revision. This one is MS7C90 revision 1.1. If your board has a different revision, some component layouts may vary. However, the main circuitry usually remains the same. The owner said it doesn't power on with CPU, but it shows signs of life without CPU. This is pretty strange. I don't know why it's doing this yet, but let's see if we can figure it out. We'll start by measuring the resistances on the main power rails as usual, and then follow up by powering the board on. This behavior is most likely the result of shorted or missing signals that interfere with the power-up sequence logic. For example, if a logic signal is shorted to a power rail, it can change its state from a logical 0 to a logical 1. When this happens to a power good signal, it can falsely indicate that the rail is stable, causing the chipset to continue the sequence instead of halting the power-on process. Situations like this can be very tricky and even dangerous for the CPU. On AM4 motherboard, the CPU is involved in the power-up sequence from the very early stages. If a signal that should be, for example, 1.8 volt is shorted to the 5 volt rail, the CPU can be damaged. That's why we have to take things slow. The risk is always there, but knowing about it helps us troubleshoot more wisely. Okay, so resistances looks fine. No shorts on the main rails and nothing between V-core and the CPU 12 volts, which is something I always double check. Let's power it on and see if we can get same behavior. So let's power it on and to see if we get the same behavior without the CPU right now. So we have drastically low current consumption, around 12 or 13 milliamps. Let's try if there's a reaction to the power button. And we do, we have it. Okay, we have LED light up, around 700 milliamps of consumption, which looks weird on AM4 motherboard without CPU. Well, let's power it on with CPU. Okay, I have two Ryzen CPUs which can fit the AM4 socket. One is the Ryzen 3 Pro 4350G, and I also have a Ryzen 3200G. This CPU isn't supported by the motherboard according to the datasheet, and so we're going to use this one. So just want to note that always make sure to check the supported processor list for the board you're repairing, otherwise the troubleshooting can drag on indefinitely. So let's power it on. Now we have almost normal current consumption, like 54 milliamps, 5 milliamps. Let's try it, push the power button. And there is no reaction. So do you see, I press it and there is no reaction. So I guess now we have to check the power sequence. In this video, I'll show you a very simplified version of the AM4 power on sequence. This is not the full complexity of the platform, but it's enough to explain the main checkpoints. I'll also use this sequence to guide the measurements I'll be showing later, so you'll know what signals and voltages to expect step by step. To recap, the simplified AM4 power sequence goes like this. It's 5 VSB, 5 volt dual, 3 VSB, then RSM, RST, then we're pressing the power button. The power button retranslated to the CPU. CPU provides sleep signals to the SIO, then we have PS on, then the main rails up, then VRM enable, then we will see the V-core, the VRM power good, and then the platform reset asserted to the SIO and the PCI Express and up. So this is a simplified model, but it covers the main checkpoints you should measure when troubleshooting a dead AM4 motherboard. Okay, so let's measure the 5 volt duals. I have a chip over here where we have 5-volt dual and 3 VSB on the same chip. And I have pin number 6 is 3 VSB and pin number 3 is 5-volt dual. So let's look at the microscope. Okay, so the 5-volt dual has pin number 3, so it's 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Then we have 5 volts. Then the pin number 6, 4, 5, 6. It should be 3 volts, 3.3 volts. Yes. So we have 3 VSB and 5-volt dual. So the next we should check the RSM RST signal. Okay, since I found the RSM RST signal, we can check it on the SIO. This is pin number 5 from the bottom, and we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this pin. And we don't have anything here. So we don't have RSM RST. That's our problem number 1 right now. Okay, I want to measure the RSM RST without CPU, just to be sure. So the pin number 5. And yes, we don't have anything. So I want to show you that the RSM RST signal is actually on the drain of the N-channel MOSFET. And so that means that it is grounded when we have the signal on the RSM RST D here. So and the gate signal is actually goes from this double MOSFET. And so that means that we should actually check for G1 over here. This is a CPU 1P8S5 power good signal. So this signal CPU 1P8S5 power good goes from this chip, and this chip enable signal is actually go from the back of the board. And so what we need is to check the elements on the back of the board. So I guess this is the culprit why there is no reaction to the power button. So we need to replace this resistor. I already checked, and so this resistor is actually a 10 kilo ohm resistor. So let's solder it on and check the nearby resistor, which is actually a 10 kilo ohm as well. So I guess that we will replace both of them just to be sure. This 2 kilo ohms and this 10 kilo ohms resistors, which we're going to replace them. Not sure about this capacitor, but well, it looks fine. There's no any cracks inside, so we'll leave it as it is. During my inspection, I discovered a scratch on the back of the motherboard that had severe tooth traces. I restored them to ensure the board would be fully functional. This type of damage is fairly common and often happens when the board is unscrewed carelessly without paying attention to the backside. So I have soldered two resistors and a capacitor on the back of the board in the CPU-enabled circuitry area. During visual inspection, I also found a damaged spot where two traces had been cut. I restored those traces and applied a UV solder mask to protect the area. Now let's power the board on and see if our repair efforts were successful. Now we have consumption of 252 milliamps. So let's start with the power button pressing. And yes, we have a reaction. Now I guess I need a heatsink. So let's see, we have a pause screen, CPU LED light up. That's waiting. Okay. Go to the VGA and boot. Let's see the post screen. Do we have it? Do we have a post screen? And yes, we have a post screen. That means the issue we were preventing this board from starting up have been successfully fixed. Of course, I still need to run a full check to make sure our peripherals and functions are working properly, but reaching this point is a huge milestone in the repair process. I'm really glad we managed to bring this motherboard back to life. So on this positive note, we'll wrap up the journey with this repair. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Your support really helps the channel and motivates me to keep creating more motherboard repair content. See ya!